The one good thing about the escaped reindeer was that Nick had to stay in the farm park to help reinforce the fences and couldn't come to the practices for the rock and roll nativity play. Having him hanging around at home all the time was quite enough for me without having to see him at school too. It was all going pretty well at practice. On Tuesday there was a small disaster in rehearsals when one of the backing singers / angels forgot all the words and ran off the stage. But other than that, everyone was feeling prepared. Even the breakdancing shepherds were great. Will and his classmates were still working on the tech side of things. I kept half an eye on my brother as he tried to talk to the others a few times. Most of them were casually friendly, but Henry was ignoring him powerfully, and it was his attitude that was affecting the other boys. I wanted to give Henry a good poke at the back of the head, but that probably wasn't going to help. I hung back when we were dismissed, taking my time with my coat so I could watch Will and his friends, or not friends. Will was swapping his school shoes for his trainers when one of the bigger kids from year 9 shoved his head down and nearly made him fall off the bench. Will stood up immediately and got right up in front of them, shouting something that, if Mum asks, I don't know the meaning of. The older boys clearly didn't expect this response. They stepped back and said something to Will whilst gesturing at the others in their group. Will is tall for his age and pretty tough, so they soon turned away. Will stared after them until they went round the corner and then kicked the metal waste bin hard. It went clang and he immediately started hopping about on the other foot, wincing. Are you okay? I ran over to him. No, I think I'd broken my toe. Will hopped around a bit more before deciding he was fine. No, but really, are you okay? I asked again. He gave me the sort of withering looks only big brothers can manage. I'm fine. But those boys are idiots, Will finished for me. Don't worry about it, Harper. But you and Henry? Will gave a tiny cringe, but managed to hide it. I said, don't worry about it. Have you had an argument? I carried on. He's not been around for ages. Harper, please. Will suddenly looked very tired. Just leave it. Fine, but this isn't over, I said, pointing at my eyes with 2 fingers and then at his. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm sure you are, he grumbled, then took out his phone and started swiping through Puzzle Cube practice slides. Even when he didn't have the toy with him, it was never far from his mind. We left school and started the walk home. The air was that horrible mixture of damp and cold, and it found its way inside my shoes, so my feet were blocks of ice by the time we got back. Mum was home, and the roof was thankfully free of reindeer, so we went straight inside and almost broke our necks falling over a collection of boxes and bags piled up just inside the hallway. What's all this? I called as Will picked himself up, turning a huge grey sack over to look at it. It had a Royal Mail stamp on him. Mum, what have you been ordering? Mum came into the hall smiling. Oh, it's all for Nick. His post has been redirected here while he's staying with us. Is he moonlighting as a postie? Will asked, picking up a box to read the front. Where's this even from? It's not in English. Some of it will be from Finland for the reindeer. Mum pointed to the airmail stamp. See? Don't worry, he'll take what he needs back to the farm park with him. How was practice? Will followed Mum inside, telling her about the tech problems they were having. But I was distracted by the heaps of parcels and bags. Who got this much post all in one go? And the boxes were one thing, but the sacks didn't look like they'd hold anything for the reindeer. They were full of something crinkly and crackly. Checking that no one was looking, I carefully undid one of the grey Royal Mail sacks and slipped a hand into the tiny opening I made at the top. I pulled my hand back out, fingers closed around something thin and sharp and flat. A letter. My hands were shaking. I turned the letter over, not knowing what to expect, not daring to hope, not daring to believe what I might see written for a name and address. And it was in another language. I couldn't even sound out the words because I didn't recognise some of the letters. They weren't from the alphabet I was used to. It could have been addressed to anyone, anywhere. Harper, come and help your brother set the table, Mum called. Disappointed, I went to slide the letter back into the sack until I spotted a word at the very bottom of the address. One I did recognise. Lapland.